Hello everyone, Hector Mendoza here. On this video, I want to show you how to use the pen tool using Vectr.com, which is a free vector-based software. And I'll show you how to trace and also do some basic complex compounds. Okay, so I got some items here. And these things here, you actually can, using these elements options, using the shapes, you can create all kinds of things like stars, uh, starbursts. Okay, you can create some hearts, uh, triangles. But this is not what I wanted to show you. What I want to show you is how to use this pen tool. With this pen tool, you can create any logo imaginable. Okay, now this is not as elaborate as Adobe Illustrator, which is, if you're going to use that, is I think $500 a year. This is a free software that you can use, and all you have to do is go to Vectr.com, create an account. It's all free. So we'll start with basics, and then we'll move away into more different complex. Well, they're not complex, but they're a little bit harder. We'll even create an Apple logo and maybe some other logos, but let's get started. So this pen tool is pretty cool. So let's start with this one right here, the star. Real simple. I'm going to click on the pen tool. On the left hand side, you'll see a little bar that tells you that it's activated. Now, all I have to do is left click on one corner, right? So I'm going to left click and then move the mouse to where I want the next one. I'm going to left click. Now, if I want to see that line, right now it's black. Yeah, it's black, right? And if I want to change the color of it, I can actually click right here, change it to red, and I can change it to any weight I want. I'm going to leave it there, but let me show you how to change that if you had to. So I'm going to change it to 0.4, but we'll go back and change it to a 0.1. Or let's go to 0.02. Well, let's go back to 0.1. Okay. Now, so we'll just click, 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 and click. Okay. So if you notice, I had a couple of problems here, right? We can fix those. So now if I click and drag, I can move that star. Well, it's a star, right? Let's say that you wanted to fix those problems. Now, one thing that I need to show you that that might help you. If you accidentally click here, you see how I can move that? If I want to keep from moving the one back of that star, like if I click here, you see that's the star that I'm actually tracing over, right? So if I want, while I have that selected, if I hit the L key, it'll lock it. Now, if I click here, see, I can't select that green star no more, and that's the one I'm tracing, right? Because if I would go in here and I start, let's say I want to fix this problem I got here. What I would do is I would click and then click again, double click. Then I could move those points. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge this area here, right? Now, let me show you something. If you select this little white square and you move it, the whole thing moved. Look, no, it didn't. But what I want to tell you is what you really need to do is you click on it until it turns solid. At that point, you can go in here and move it where you want, right? So I'm going to move it right there. And then if you hit Control 0, you can view the whole page. And wherever, and if you hold your Control key, wherever you go and hover your mouse, it will enlarge that area. That's why you see me, I can control how to enlarge and reduce. And this is almost practically almost in any program that you use. It all works the same, most of them. Now, so look, I want to enlarge this area. So since I have my mouse there, and I hold my control key with my wheel, I can increase it and it maintains this dot where it's at, right? So now all we have to do is click, make that solid, and then move it where I want. Now, uh, now I'm going to reduce it. And if you wanted to get real detailed, nobody would ever know that you're not perfect, right? But let's say you wanted to try to make it as perfect as possible. You see, I see a little line right there. So I would enlarge this area. I would click on that little box, make it solid, and then take it to where I want. And then now if you hit Control 0, you can see that that made a, oh, by the way, if you're here and you can deselect by clicking anywhere in the canvas, which is what you see white, or you can hit Escape and that will deselect it. It will select that box, but it will deselect those little boxes, your anchor points that allow you to make changes. So this is what that looks like, okay? So that is a pretty easy one. Now, let's go ahead and work with another easy one, and which would be a circle. A circle is kind of, it's easy if you know how to control the pen tool. And it's really easier said than done. But what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm gonna make him the fill. I don't want to fill, okay, which is a solid fill right now. I'm going to deselect the fill. I'm going to put a border, but that border, if you notice, I'm clicking here, that border, I want it to be black, because what we're going to do is we're going to trace a red line, a red border, okay? So again, so let me show you the importance of locking this thing. And another thing I want to show you is whenever you select your pen tool, if you hover in an object, it's gonna let me know where the center of that object is. You see those little blue lines? Now look, I'm gonna go down here. You see right there? That's the center of it horizontally. This is the center of it vertically. So if you're tracing something, it's pretty cool that it has this little option. Now, to make a round circle, it's actually pretty easy, but it does have, it has some control. You have to have some control. In other words, right now you're seeing a vertical and a horizontal blue line. So if you want to make a round object, you want to click and drag. So since I have a line to the left, I'm going to click and drag about halfway of that line that you see there, okay? And that's how you make a pretty round circle. So let's see if that works. So I'm gonna left click, I'm gonna drag this line right to the middle of that line that we were looking at, right? Now, you see how I'm keeping this straight? If you want it to be straight, if you want this to be even, you want to make sure that you don't click and drag like that, because that's going to make it wobble, right? So what you want to do is make sure you go and make it a straight click and pull. So I'm going to release it there. Now I'm going to move this guy over until I see the horizontal and the vertical lines that tell me that's the center of that line. And I'm going to go ahead and change this to red, okay, so that you can see. Oops. Okay, that should have changed it to red. I mean, to red. Okay, so let's see. Okay, now I'm glad that did that. Okay, so you cannot use your arrow keys to move the canvas. So, but you can move that circle in the center using your this scroll, right? But be careful, because if you don't click on the scroll, it's going to put a point somewhere where you don't want it, right? So you got to be careful that you're only selecting the scroll, okay? So now we're going to get the center, and I am going to click and go down because I want it. Well, it really don't matter. Since I have that line at the top, I could actually click up, but I don't want to do that. Look, I'm going to, here you go. That's the line I wanted right there, because I want to follow that line. So I'm going to left click. I'm going to drag halfway to of that little, actually, we really should have gone in about a quarter of a turn of so what we're going to do is I'm going to hit, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to escape. I'm going to hit Control Z. That undid everything. I'm going to go back to my pen tool. Okay. And this time I'm going to click and drag. Once I get the center of it. There it is, right. Come on, right. Okay, I'm going to, okay, right there. But I guess it really doesn't matter here. Give me a second here. I'm just going to get the center of it, okay? Okay, I'm going to left click. This time, I'm only going to go like a third of the way of that line that you see at the left, okay? And then I'm going to release. Now that was a little crooked, but then I'm going to go get the center of it. I'm going to click and drag and go about a quarter of the way. And we can always change this line later, okay? So I'm going to release it, go to the center again, left click, straighten it up, go about a third of the way, go down here, find the centers, click, drag, keeping it straight, about a third of the way. Then I'm going to go down here, click, and then it created the line. So now we're going to straighten this thing up, okay? So now, so if I double click, when I click here, it's going to give me 2 anchor points, or this things here, right? So if I click, if without holding my control key, and I click and drag this thing, you see how both of them move? And then if I wanted to kind of make it kind of even, so look, you just play with it and then release. Now the area that I'm seeing that's a little crooked is up here, so I'm gonna click until I get those handles. I'm gonna click on this one and move them until you get almost a perfect circle. Okay, so uh, it just takes a little bit of practice. Now I learned this program maybe a week ago, so I'm not good at it yet. In Illustrator, which I started using in 1986, that one I'm real good at. This one I'm not. So, but as I learn, I always like teaching people uh, things. So if I move this to the left, you can see it looks pretty, like a pretty easy circle. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fix some of your problems. Okay, so let's say that we went in, that you were drawing this, and yours looked like this. Let me see. Here, give me a second here. Okay, so let's say yours was one side looked okay, and let's go down here, and then one side, oops. So let's say this side looked like that. Okay, so this looks good, this looks good, this looks bad, right? So if I double click on the image and I click here, see, I got two of those anchor points, right? If I hold my control key, remember earlier, as I move my anchor points, they both evenly moved, right? So if I hold my control key and I click on this one here, then you see I can move this one around without affecting the other one. Equally, I'll do the same thing to the other. And remember, you want that line kept pretty straight horizontally or vertically, depends on what you're doing, right? Because if I was doing this, it would give me an oblong circle. So you want to go ahead and kind of keep this line right here, this one and this one right here. Keep it straight, and then release, and that'll give you a pretty, uh, round curve. So now I'm going to click here. I'm going to hold my control key, because if I move this, watch what I'm going to do. If I don't hit the control key, look, it moved the other one, right? So hit Control Z. Now, if I hold my control key and click here, then I can move this. And remember, I want to keep this line here pretty vertical. Okay, so then I would move it and change it. So that's how you handle your handles. Those are called handles. And then I don't know what they call it here. I'm talking like this is what they would use in Illustrator. I used to use Illustrator 20 years ago. I know about 15 other programs. I haven't used Illustrator in a long time, but from what I remember, I think those are what these things are called. Now, I want to hit Control 0 so that I can fill this whole thing in. Okay, so now, of course, this one would be a very simple one to do, right? So we'll go in here. We'll take out the fill. We'll make the border. We'll keep it green. Okay. Now, I'm going to enlarge the area. You always want to enlarge when you're making drawings. So let's go to the pen tool. I'm going to click here on one corner and then click there. and it's red, so I don't have to worry about it. It's off a little bit, but I want it to be off so that I can show you how to fix it. So all I'm doing is left clicking, left click, left click, left click. Now it actually looks pretty even. I see a little bit of green here, so I'm going to enlarge this area. Okay, I'm going to double click. I'm going to get this anchor point, get it closer. Okay, reduce it. I see it's off down here because I've moved that one. So I'm going to click and move it over. Okay, go down. Okay, now that I'm moving those, it's making those other ones uneven. So we're just going here and tweaking it a little bit. And now it looks pretty even. Okay, so that was simple. But we got a chance to click and drag and you know, enlarge and reduce. So the next one, not harder, but I'm making them harder and harder. So a box like this is easy. Remember, you could just click here and get, oops, excuse me, click here on your, right here, your shapes and get those, but that's not the lesson here. The lesson here is to show you how to click and drag using your pen tool. So let's enlarge this area. Let's click here. Let's take out the fill and put a border. So it's a light blue, turquoise, whatever color that is. Now we're gonna draw this. Okay, so if you go to your pen tool and you see right here where it starts turning, you see everywhere you start seeing it turn, that's where you want to start your clicking and dragging. One thing I know about this program, you see how that jumped? For some reason, whenever it changes your advertising, it jumps. So be careful not to click and drag too much when you're when you're seeing advertisements. Okay, so let's go back and enlarge this area again. So remember, we want to get right to where, if you look to the left, you see right there, you see a little white space. I'll go down. This is where it actually starts curving. That's where you want to click, right? Click and just drag. And remember, keep this a little straight. We're not going to go up too much. Depending upon how much curve you have is how much you're going to click and drag. Okay, so we're going to click here. Then I'm going to go down here until I see that it starts moving, changing. Okay, so right there is where the line actually starts curving. So I'm going to click and drag just a hair. See, I'm not moving a lot. Now, it snapped to an area where I didn't want it to. At this point, I could change it, and I'll show you in a minute, but we're going to continue, and I'll show you. You could actually fix it now, but I want to be able to fix things as we go. Not as we go, but at the end, so you get the idea how to alter these things. So I'm going to release. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to click and drag, and I'm not going to spend too much time explaining because we've already talked about this. I'm going to click and drag, go down here. When it starts turning, you can see it. Click and drag, keep it even. We're going to go here where it starts curving. Click and drag. And remember, keep this straight. And I don't want to click and drag too much right now. So we're going to go here until it starts curving. Click and drag. Keep it straight. This is where it starts curving. Click and drag. Keep it straight. And then just connect it. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to fix it. See, it looks bad. And I intentionally did this, okay? So now So I'm going to enlarge this area. I'm going to double click. So remember, I knew this wasn't, you see, if you notice, this is where the curve actually starts right here. So I want to turn it into a solid box. I'm going to, oops, the whole thing moved. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control Z. So, and what actually could have happened, maybe the bottom one moved on me. I never locked that bottom one, right? So look, I'm going to click here, make sure that you see those are the colors of the bottom one. I'm going to hit L for lock, or you could go in here into layers and lock it this way, but you have to find out which one of this ones is it. It has to be one of this. It's not a pin. It's one of these paths. So the easiest way for me to do this is just hit L for lock. That way I don't accidentally select it. So let's go in here, enlarge this area, double click, grab this anchor point, move it right here to where it starts actually curving on me, and then click on it, get my anchor points, and then just kind of, okay, I missed it, so no big deal. I'm going to click here. You got to hit right in the center of it, of that little circle, in order for you to grab it, right? So watch this. I remember, I want to keep it straight, and so that is kind of, I still missed it. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to move this over some more, and this is crooked because I'm using, well, I missed it again. Sorry about that. So you got to hit right on the little circle, and you see as I straighten it up, it's starting to even out here and here. So this is a good exercise for us because that way I can show you how to manipulate this. Now I'm going to do this area. So I'm going to hold my control key, enlarge this area. And this is actually where it starts curving, not here. It's actually about right here. So I'm going to turn that solid. I'm going to move it. The whole thing moved. If you notice down there, it's because when I clicked on it, it didn't turn solid on me. So it has to be solid. Otherwise, the whole thing will move. That's why I tried to explain earlier. If you click on it, it's white, you can move the whole thing. But if it's solid like this, you can just only move that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, click on it again to get my handles. You see how easy, you see now how, if I keep it straight, how nice the curve looks. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I'm just going to straighten it up. You get the point. So let's go in here and okay, double click. Okay, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to enlarge this area. I'm going to kind of move this over to right there, right? I'm going to click on it, make sure it's solid. I'm going to make sure that this is straight. Do you see my anchor points? I want it to be straight, and to get it to that point, that looks good. Now I'm going to hit, okay, so now I'm going to double click, grab this anchor point, get it to where it's a straight line, make that anchor point. You see it's crooked, right? That's why it looks like that. Let's reduce it a little bit. Here, let me move this over to the left a little bit. Okay, so we're going to click here. See, it's at an angle. You don't want that. If you want it to look smooth, you want to click. You see, I want this thing to be straight. And then watch this. If I keep that straight, then you get a nice little curve. Okay, so now let's go and see what happened to this other end. Same thing. I'm going to click, click and drag. We're going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to keep this straight, but also move it to the left. Okay. Click, reduce it down a little bit. Click here. Make sure this is straight up. Okay, so right there, this thing's crooked. So all I have to do is click here, straighten it up. You see how it starts becoming smooth? And even though, you see, if I straighten this up, this tells me I'm too far to the right. So I'm going to click and drag it to the left. Right there. Oh, right there. Snap into something. So I'm going to click here. There we go. Click. And yeah, I need to move it up is what's happening. So let's click there and click. There you go. Okay, it's off a little bit still. It's snapping to something. I hate when it does that, but I think then this is the only one that we haven't done here. So let's. It's probably because of this one that I can't get this one to be straight. So let's. When I straighten this one up, that's going to help that other one. So let's go in here where it starts curving. Okay. Turn it into a solid. Make sure that we keep straight. See, it's still too much to the right. So I'm using my arrow keys to move it left and right. Okay, here we go. It's still off a little bit, but nobody would ever, you wouldn't be able to tell. I'm just trying to get too perfect. If you notice, look, it looks pretty smooth. Okay, now, so put that. Now we have the heart and this thing here, right? So let's go ahead and do the heart. And I want to show you an easy way to make this heart by just doing one side, duplicating it, rotating it, and combine them together. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to click on my pen tool. Oh, before we do that, let's go and make it an outline. Right now it doesn't have one, so we're going to turn it that color. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and lock it because I know this one will give me trouble if I don't lock it. So I'm going to hit L to lock it, and we're going to draw. We're only going to draw one side, and we're going to combine them together. So that would be the easiest way. So let's click on the pen tool. Click right here. Now I won't lie to you. Doing a heart is harder than it looks, but let's see what we can do. So I'm going to click about right here. I'm going to click and drag. And now I can't see what I'm doing, right? So we're going to change this color to red. Okay. Now, and let me click. That's how I select, deselect it. Okay. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go by right here. Okay. I'm going to click and drag a little bit. And it's not perfect. I'm not worrying about that because I'll show you how to fix that. So click and drag. And I'm going to click and drag a little bit. and then just click right here. And then I'm going to hit escape. That deselects it. See, you see how hard that was? Now watch this. It's no big deal because we can fix it. So now I'm going to start from this end. Okay, so we're going to move it over. Okay, what I can do is I can click on this. I don't need that one. I don't think I need it. So I'm going to delete that point. I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to put him here. And only this right anchor, I want to move that one. I'm going to leave this one alone. So I'm going to hit my control key. And I'm going to make him a little rounder like that. Okay. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. Now, I want to, between here and here, I want to put this dot right in between both of them. Okay. So I'm going to make it solid. I'm going to kind of move him over right in between both of them. Okay. And I'm going to make him solid. I am going to move both of them at this point, okay, to straighten both of them up at one time. You see what I'm doing? And I kind of click there, okay, right there. I'm going to release. Now all I got to do is straighten this thing up. So I don't want to mess with this, right? So if I click here, but I hold my control key, I am going to navigate this guide so well, that won't work. So look, watch what I'm going to do. Okay, so first I'm going to go right in here. And what I need to do is move both of them to straighten this line up, okay? So first I want to straighten the line up. That's you see how it goes from here to this angle? First, I'm going to go make sure that those two are straight like that, right? Then I'm going to move this guy over this way, and then okay, so I'm going to grab this and go down. And then this one here, I'm just going to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, that is close. I mean, I could go in there and make that perfect, but this is not what I'm trying to teach y'all. Okay, so now I'm gonna copy this, then I'm gonna rotate. Okay, so this program is not like Illustrator where I can mirror it, but I can manipulate it to make it do that. Okay, and let me explain what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna Control C, we'll copy it. I'm gonna hit Control V, we'll paste it. Now, the problem is that I need to rotate this, right? Now, we can rotate, but I haven't found a way to mirror something. And the only way I've learned how to mirror something is, first of all, you see right here, that's the height. Look at the width, 0.13 I don't know, is that an advertisement? Okay, here. Okay, so look at the width of it. It's 0.135. Okay, 0.8135. So I'm going to grab this anchor point here, and look, I'm just going to click and drag it to the right. And then I'm going to release it, and I'm going to change that to 0.8135, enter. Oh, it proportionately, here, let me hit Control Z. Okay. And I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay, so I need to unlock this, okay? Because when I click on this, it's only going to move left and right. Okay, and I want to change that to 0.8135, and now it's okay. I didn't go all the way. Sorry about that. Here, let's try that again. Okay, so this time I want to go this way and change that to 8135. Well, it's not letting me do it that way, but I can. I'm going to just manually move it to 8.8135. Yeah, every time I do that, it wants to change it back. Okay, so let's go in here. 0.8. That's close enough. So watch this. Now, all I'm going to do is select both of those. Well, first, let's get it real close here, okay? So watch it. I'm going to enlarge. I'm going to move this to where those 2 points are real close to each other, okay? Now, let's see what's going on down here, and those are close enough for me. So now, if I select both of those, you see right here, that unites them. And let me show you why we know that they're not united. If I fill those, you see only one of them filled, right? But if I unite both of them and I fill this one to, let's say, blue, 100% opacity, and pick a blue, you see both of them. Now we know they're united. But right now, I don't want it united because I want to make sure that at this point we can tweak it. Okay, so let's enlarge this area. We got a little problem here, no big deal. We just double click, and it looks like this point here, I should keep it something like, or I can, let me see, right there. Okay, then okay, so I could go in here if I wanted to make this a little bit lower. Go in here, and I could move those one here. Actually, what I need to do is hold my control key. Move that one like this. Hold my control key. Move that one like that. And you can play. You can play with it and make it straighter. But nobody. Like I said, I don't know if theirs is perfect or mine is not perfect. But you see, they look pretty close, right? Now, this guy here. So this is a pretty easy one. I could go in here, use my pen tool. Okay, now we're going to learn how to rotate and stuff. So what's this? So if I went in here, and let me enlarge this area, go in here, make sure it's straight, click, drag, click and drag. Click and drag, click and drag. Now I need to make it small, and then come on this area, enlarge it, then click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, and then just connect those two together. And I always like to do this to make sure that it's a complete connection, right? Okay, now the rest of it's going to be real easy. So now that you have this, all you would have to do is hit Control C, Control V. Okay, now what you want to do is rotate it. And the easiest way I know how to rotate, there might be an easier way. See right now, it doesn't give me a rotation, but if I hit Tab, then it gives you, now you got to play with this thing. So if you hit Tab, you're going to see this little rotation thing. Here, let me do it again. Tab. You see that little rotation? I'm going to left click. I'm going to hold my shift key so that it constrains. I think it's at 22.5 degrees. I know it's not 45, so I think it's like 22.5 degree. Knowing the mathematics, that's what I think it is. But so then I'm gonna snap to that, right? I'm gonna hit Control C, Control V, and then if I hit my Tab key, I could rotate that. Oh, I had it right there. Let me. Here, I'm gonna hit Tab again. I think that's what makes it rotate. I'm not too sure because that's. Here, let me enlarge this right here. Tab. There it is. Left click, hold my shift key, rotate it at a 22.5 degree angle. And then we only got one more to do. Hit Control C, Control V. Oops. Oh, Control. Okay. So I hit Control Z. So right here is your redo. Okay. You can redo what you just did, and it's not doing it. So let's hit Control Z. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna Control C, Control V. I don't know why it's not doing that. Okay. Click on it. Control C, Control V. Now I want to rotate this last one. So I'm going to enlarge this area. I'm going to hit Tab. Until I get that little tab. It's hard to find that little rotating circle. Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Shift. There you go. Yeah, that rotating thing, if anybody finds out how to do that, maybe y'all can teach me, because I learned that by mistake. I couldn't find anything. Okay, now we have a circle right in the middle, right? So I'm going to click on the shapes. I'm going to find my circle. I'm going to click in the middle. I'm going to deselect that. I don't want to see the fill, so I can see the circle, and we're going to make it as big as the one in the background. Okay, you see how I'm kind of, okay. Now all I got to do is select everything here. You see this right here? Oh, this one here? Unite. If I unite, oh, wait a second. I think it's selecting the background, the back one. Yeah, I think it's selecting that. So let me lock that, and let's select again, and let's unite. Perfect. It was selecting the back one. That's why when I was doing that. Now the only problem is that we have this little circle here, right? No big deal. So we're going to go in here, create a circle, and close that, and make that small. Okay. Now, while I have that one selected, I'm going to click here, and what I want to do is exclude. You see, now it is, if I fill it with a color, change it to 100% opacity, let's make blue. You see, it has the compound. Let's call it compound. It's compound. In Illustrator, it's called make a compound path. When you move it around, it has this in the middle. It doesn't fill it. Okay, so I think that's all of it, guys. Sorry it took so long. Of course, there's a lot of other things you can do with this, but this is the basics. I hope you watch my. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to me. I teach a lot of programs like Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, Corel Draw, PageMaker, Word, Excel, Exactimate, Symbility. I'm probably missing 3 or 4 other programs that I know. This one here, I'm just learning. I studied this for about 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, an hour a day. I'm learning it. Again, thank you for watching my video. Hope I see you on the next one.